Alright, so what we have here is Chromaphone, a plug-in synth produced by Applied Acoustic Systems. This is a physical modeling synth, which means it is not a sampler. It doesn't contain any audio files. All the sound is produced through algorithms. Chromaphone is touted as a percussive instrument, although I think that definition is a bit restricting, since it can produce a wide range of sounds, everything from percussion to string to keyboard sounds to unusual sound effects. It comes with a nice set of presets. Obviously, we've got marimba. One of my favorites is under chimes and bells. This carriage clock. Kind of got your regular household clock there. Grandfather clock. And then down here you've got Big Ben. It's just really cool. So I'm going to give you a general overview of this synth and a demonstration of building an actual instrument on it. I'm admittedly not an expert user, more of a basic user, but what's great about this synth is how quickly you can start using it effectively and start creating your own sounds. It's just really a lot of fun. So Chromaphone has three elements that shape the sound. It has a mallet over here, which triggers the sound. The term mallet sounds quite literal, but in this program, the mallet emulates anything from a drumstick to a metal bar to brushes to a human hand plucking a string. The resonators over here are basically two parts of the physical object which is being triggered by the mallet. And these include different kinds of resonators. We have a string, beam, marimba, membrane, plate, closed tube, open tube, and manual, which allows the user to create the overtones of the sound. In addition to these three elements, there are a variety of other parameters, like the noise control over here, a noise envelope, vibrato, low frequency oscillator, and a variety of effects, things like chorus, flangers, phasers, delays, reverbs, and so on, that can either dramatically alter the sound or subtly refine it. So the mallet over here has a few controls that shape its sound. The stiffness knob determines how hard or how soft the mallet is. The noise button introduces some noise on the attack of the mallet. The color knob here affects the frequency of the noise. And this slider here gives you more or less noise on the attack. So over here we have the resonators, and I've chosen to start with a plate this time. Just as with the mallet, the resonators have several controls that shape the sound. The decay knob affects how long the note lasts while you have the key on your keyboard controller depressed. The release knob affects how long the note lasts after you have released the key. So I'm just tapping the key and it's ringing there. The material knob is really one of the most fascinating controls on this synth. it basically affects the hardness of the material that's being played. So if we start with the knob turned all the way to the left, we get kind of a woody, boxy, hollow sound. And as I turn the knob clockwise, you'll see how it starts to become more metallic. The tone knob controls the overtones of the sound and seems to affect the brightness of the sound. The hit point is where the sound is played on the resonator. So you can think of this as analogous to playing on the edge of a drum head versus the center of the drum head. The hit point basically controls, it moves the strike zone around the instrument. So what I'm going to do now is build an instrument, one that's not too complicated. And to give you an idea of what I have in mind, I'd like to build an instrument that sounds something like this. So I've got a Kleenex box here with a rubber band around it. And if I play that, believe it or not, it's actually kind of close to F here. A little bit sharp. And if I depress this rubber band, I can make the sound go higher. So that's what I'm going to try and recreate on Chromaphone. We'll see how close I come. It probably won't sound exactly like it, but we'll see how close I can get. So I'm going to start with the string sound, and I'm going to make its decay kind of long, because a rubber band can actually vibrate for a long time. The release also. The material and the tone buttons will kind of stay in the middle. I may play with those a little later, but sounds good to me. Likewise, the hit point. Maybe right about there. So now I'm going to go over and create the body of this instrument. And I'm going to use the membrane for that, because as illogical as that may seem, the membrane actually sounds more like a cardboard box. So now I've got kind of a thumping sound there. I don't want it to resonate too long. Leave the hit point over there. So one thing about the box, actually this is a little bit high, so I'm going to pitch shift it down an octave. That's more like it. So that's middle C that I'm playing right now. So one thing with the box is that its frequency really can't change that much, unlike the rubber band, because I can't change the size of the box. So instead of having each key on my keyboard controller play a semitone higher than the previous one, like this, I'm just going to have all the keys pretty much play the same tone. And I do that over here under this parameter. I change this ratio down so that now most of the keys will be, they'll be pretty much playing the same note. Changes just slightly, but that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to link these two sounds, And you'll notice that this coupled sign is on. That means that the sounds actually play off of each other. They influence each other. And let's see what we have here. The more I drag the slider down, the more I hear one or the other resonator. So I want it somewhere in the middle. Let's see here. I'm going to make this a little longer. Still want to hear that thump of the membrane. So now what I'm going to do is add an effect that makes it sound a little bit more like a vibrating rubber band, and I'll do that using a delay down here. I'm going to have the delay become effective right away. So maybe it's sounding something like a rubber band around a Kleenex box. But there's certainly more refinements that can be made, but I won't really get into those here. So this synth is really a lot of fun. It's easy to learn and easy to start creating your own sounds. As you get to know it more, you can become more sophisticated with your sound design. But the great thing is that you can start creating really interesting sounds right away. Here's some of the sounds I created within just the first couple of weeks of owning this synth. So it's a great synth, lots of fun, very easy to learn, and I'd highly recommend it.